This is an important part of the little digging machine we have at the Tram Association. And this is gonna be a challenge. Now, this is an important part because, of course, if you imagine that on this side there is the chassis with the cap and the commands and all this, and on this side is the boom and the stick and the bucket. And this, I don't know how you call this part, hold the whole thing together. But when we bought this machine, from day one, we knew that there's important problem with it. As you can see here, this is falling apart because I had to cut it off. And this is normally a 30mm hole. And this is one part, of course. And this holds this pin that, as you can see, has also a little bit of wear, maybe a bit more than a little bit, and the round hole not round anymore. And this bushing is completely stuck on the shaft. And to get it out, I had to cut off this piece. But of course, as you can see, it's not very useful anymore. And to make it a little bit easier to knock this pin out without causing way more damage, I made this little thing. This pin is diameter 30mm. And I made this one a little bit smaller. And because this side is threaded, we could put it in here. It's a little bit flattened because, of course, we hammered it. And this was a really handy drift without breaking something. We had it out, as you can see. And after a little bit of thinking how we gonna fix things, I made this. As you can see, it's a bigger bushing on a steel plate. And I tried to weld it here. And now it's on the floor. So I said, weld it here. But because at the tram depot we cannot preheat, we have no burners or whatever, I thought maybe I can get away with it, weld it cold. So I was sitting hands and knees in the wet grass and then tried to weld it. And the weld was okay-ish, but as you can see, it didn't hold. So we decided to take it all apart and then bring it home here. And the plan is now to, of course, fix it again, but this time with preheat. So first I will clean up what's left of this broken weld here. And this side, of course, and then heat it up and weld it again. And also clean up and repair this important crack here. I brought the camera a little bit closer so you can see better what happened. I think the weld penetration wasn't bad. It could be better, but it wasn't bad. But as you can see, it's all crystallized. And in the other part, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, you can see the little pieces of cast steel that are ripped off from this side here. And here on the lower part, with the rust between two, we can clearly see the crack that, of course, is all the way through to the other side. So this also challenge. And to preheat the thing before welding, I will use my good old camping stove here. Now, this is a really handy thing to make food for many people at the same time. But this one we will use it for something else. But let's first start by cleaning up the surfaces that needs welding, which means angle grinding. And it also means outdoor activity. I had to stop playing outside because it starts to rain again, but I think I've got it. To prevent the crack from continuing, I drilled a little hole in here. Now, it's the theory, but normally it works. And the wall thickness I left here in the bottom is not really much, because here this part is very thick and solid, and here it's almost nothing. And I think I'm good to go. And of course this surface also nice and clean, a little bit in an angle. And I think it's time to start cleaning up this one and adapt, of course, on here. And because this is a hobby machining channel that focuses a bit more on the shaper, I will clean this thing up on the shaper. It's just that because it's rounded, we'll see. I will take light cuts just to be sure it will not be pushed over like this. That's a problem. There is just not enough clearance between my part here and the bottom part of the ram. But that will be an easy fix. Yes. The poor little cutting tool isn't very happy with the treatment I gave it. Of course, now I'm cutting weld and it's really hard. I took the cutting tool out and as you can see, there's not much left of the cutting edge or the tip or whatever. So I think it's time to look out for a better solution. Let's, for example, give it a go on the milling machine using carbide. All set, let's give it a light cut to start with, 0.5 millimeter. That seemed to work, but I'm gonna give it some coolant. Yes. Right, let's take it out of here and see what we've got. Because when I made this thing and I installed it, I didn't see it, it's only after. It was sitting in an angle, so I made a little mistake here. And now, let's check. Of course, I'm not chasing microns here, we don't care. From the moment it's more or less parallel, good enough. And I think it needs a little bit more. Right, that's done. 1 millimeter less than before. And now to cut the bevel on a normal milling machine, it would be a little bit a challenge to set it the part in an angle, but on this one it's just that now my part is too far that way. I can't go further with the head. So all I have to do now is to move the vise this way. a nice brand new little bevel. It used to fit. What's happening here? Haha. And I think it started to look like something. It's just now, this is more or less ready to be welded. But on this side, there is this little bushing that was completely mangled up when this side here broke and it forced the pin up like this. And now this one is completely out of shape. And off camera I made a new one, so I will take this one out and install this one. Yes. To install this thing I wanted to make a special tool with a shoulder and a shaft in here so that it doesn't deform too much while locking it in. But because I still have the original pin with this bushing that is completely stuck on it, and of course it is the right diameter, maybe I can use this one as a tool. Need bigger. Because of the hole in this ear is a little bit oval, and of course my brand new bushing is circular. It was deformed and the pin didn't fit. So I gave it a little bit a touch of drilling machine with my cute pinky stone here, and now it fits perfectly fine. And now it's time to start thinking about the next problem. All bushings on this thing are steel, no problem. Except of course this big one. It is also steel, but it's coated I think with nylon or something. And because I have to preheat this thing at more or less 250 degrees Celsius, I'm not sure the nylon in here is gonna be happy with it. So I cleaned the thing up with a piece of sandpaper, and then I tried to knock it out, but there's absolutely no movement. And as you can see, it is a very thin wall. So no matter what I do, that thing will be destroyed. So I suppose there's only one thing left to do, and that is start heating this thing up and weld it together. As you can see, I opened both doors to give the thing air, because there's old grease and paint on this, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna smell badly. So now also very important to note is, for me this is the first time I do this kind of thing. So this is not a how-to video, but just I watched on the internet do other people and I copy it. That's all. Let's light some fire. My cooking stove is way more effective than I thought it would be. Maybe you can see here that the steel I cleaned up is turning blue. And up here it's a little bit a straw color. And the part I have to weld over here is also turning blue. And this thing is now heating for 15 minutes, so I turn down the flame a bit to let spread the heat a bit more, and then I will start welding. I just finished all the welding. Now I didn't show much of it because of course there's not much to see. And for the moment it's back on the fire to give it a after heat to release the stresses. Hope it works. After about 15 minutes of post heat, I turned down the flames a little bit lower, even more lower, and gave it again 5 or 10 minutes, I don't know exactly. And I think it's time to cut it off. And I will cover it up in my neighbor's bedsheet, of course. I installed the thing in my garden because it still smells, and also with these blankets on it, it could be maybe a little bit a fire hazard. So I will leave it cool down here, and this is also where I have to end this video, because as it happens so many times, today is Friday, and Friday this video comes out, which means the results, that will be for another video.